Thank you, Jeff. And it's a pleasure to see all of you here today. And I invite all of you to lean into the conversation. It's nice to see so many good colleagues and friends that we've been working in this space for many, many years. I look forward to meeting many of you who I don't know yet to become good friends going forward. All of us are in this together. And again, it's nice to see all of you here in the room and virtually attending as well. I've got a few just opening framing remarks before we get to the meat and potatoes of our day's event. And again, it's just to set the stage of why we are all focused in advancing carbon capture and storage as part of that all of the above solution to help mitigate global climate change. Right? The global climate math is absolutely clear that addressing climate change requires all technology options to be deployed at scale, right? It's not an either or conversation. It's an all of the above approach to solving and mitigating climate change. Last month, the International Energy Agency released its Credible Pathways to 1.5 degrees C report, right? Focused on what do we as global society need to do yet this decade? What are the key actions that we all collectively need to work together to achieve if we have a hope of remaining on that 1.5 degree path globally? 4 key pillars were summarized and really highlighted in this IEA report. In the energy sector, decarbonizing electricity, accelerating energy efficiency and electrification, those are all the critical tools that all of us need to work to maximize the benefit of. Right. The second pillar was reducing deforestation to net zero by 2030 and doing other beneficial practices in the land use sector. The third critical pillar that the International Energy Agency identified was reducing other than CO2 greenhouse gas emissions, such as and primarily fugitive methane emission reduction. And the fourth pillar that IEA identified is scaling up carbon management technologies. Carbon capture and storage, carbon dioxide removal, what many of us in the room have spent most of our careers working on collaboratively together. Right? All of these actions individually are massive challenges that require strong coordinated collaboration locally and nationally and globally if we're going to get those to scale to the gigaton levels that are required to address climate change, right? The climate challenge is massive, yet those technology solutions exist today. We just need to work together to deploy those at scale, right? We must act with purpose and at scale and with urgency, right? The clock is ticking, time's not on our side, but if we work together, we can do that. I'd like to note just, in looking at the registered attendance for today, the great diversity of the audience in this room. We all have a role to play to work together. Again, many of you are good colleagues and friends. My children have grown up with some of your children, but many people are new to this space, right? And we all have a role. Governments must enact durable policy and regulation that will allow investment to flow to these technologies. Industry is going to need to build, own, and operate this kit at scale, at gigaton scale, both here in the United States and globally. The finance sector has a role to play to enable investments to transact efficiently and effectively. Academia and research organizations are going to continue to progress all of these low carbon technologies and do that well. And civil society and local communities, must ultimately provide that social license to operate and to build and to utilize these facilities. Again, all of these in combination to get us to where we need to be. We're all in this fight together, and it's that collaborative opportunity that brought me from my former position at the U.S. Department of Energy here to the Institute to work with all of us together cumulatively, both in the United States and at a global scale to, as rapidly as we can, advance the deployment of carbon capture and storage. With the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act here in the United States last year, and building on that durable legal regulatory policy landscape that our country has been working on for the last 15 or 20 years in this space, not just here in the United States, but our neighbors to the north and Canada as well. CCS is now investable in many applications here in North America. The entire world is watching what we do here with great anticipation. This has been catalytic, not just for progressing projects here in the United States, and we'll hear a lot about that, and in Canada, but has really catalyzed and jump-started policy support that can be efficient and effective on a global basis. And so with this great opportunity comes great responsibility for all of us to do that good work together, right? Which is why I joined the Institute again, to harness that agility and to have the CCS community engage the financial sector, work with academia, reach out and engage local communities. This is what it's going to take to deploy this at scale. This is what it's going to take to accelerate CCS to play its appropriate role alongside all the other low carbon technologies we need to get to gigaton scale to help mitigate climate change. The climate math is clear. We need gigaton levels of deployment of both carbon capture and storage and carbon dioxide removal to help mitigate climate change. Time is not on our side, and we've got plenty of good work to do together. So with that is just some opening framing remarks from my perspective of where I see both the opportunity and the need for all of us to figure out how to work together, connect dots, and do good as quickly as possible. I'd like to just quickly give a preview of today's conversation. And again, I invite all of you here and virtually to lean into the conversation. If we could have the agenda on the slide, again, we'll have a keynote speaker from the governor of Louisiana up next. We'll have some panels talking about all these components that I just mentioned, finance and pipelines, pushing back on some of the misinformation out there. We'll have a fireside chat with Dr. Sally Benson from the White House, one of the climate advisors there, direct to the president. And again, there'll be opportunities throughout the day for Q&A and engagement. We'll have some breaks as well. And I invite all of you to engage, have conversations with folks that you haven't met yet in the room. This is what it's going to take for all of us to work together. That's why I'm excited to be here at the Institute to convene these types of conversations like we're going to have throughout today. So with that, I would like to turn to introduce our first keynote speaker. It is truly an honor to introduce Governor John Bel Edwards, the 56th governor of Louisiana. Governor Edwards was first elected in 2015 and is currently serving his second term as governor of Louisiana. During his administration, the governor has taken numerous historic steps to address climate change and expand the state's clean energy sector, including through support of carbon capture and storage. In 2020, the governor created the Climate Initiatives Task Force, the state's first effort to develop economy-wide policies to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The Climate Task Force delivered a plan to get Louisiana to net zero carbon emissions by 2050. And under Governor Edwards' leadership, Louisiana is emerging as a global leader in the energy transition. I mentioned everywhere in the world, they're looking here to North America. Many people in this community in the United States are looking to the good progress and the good work under Governor Edwards' leadership in the state of Louisiana. The son of a sheriff and charity hospital nurse, Governor Edwards understood the importance of serving others from an early age, and he's done that throughout his career. After graduating top of his class, Governor Edwards attended the United States Military Academy at West Point and went on to serve as an active duty airborne ranger in the U.S. Army. In 2008, the people of House District 72 elected him to the Louisiana House of Representatives, where he served for 8 years before being elected governor. We are so lucky and fortunate to have the governor here in person today to speak with us about climate action in Louisiana and how CCS plays an important role in the state's transition to a low carbon future. Please join me and welcome the governor to the stage.